the US are now complaining that China's influence is too big. Part of the complaints are that the Belt and Road Initiative is being brought into the UN. Firstly, I think this is entirely reasonable. It's a democratic tide of states that want what Belt and Road gives them, which is development. So it's a very simple choice here. To say China has too much influence in the UN, well, I think this is overstating China's hand. I mean, essentially, the UN, if you look at the permanent members, it's very stacked in favour of Western states. And so to say that, well, China's unfairly influencing these other developing states that are voting with it, but certainly their interests do coincide in many places, which is they all want development. They have a different view of what the world needs based on their own real experience. Firstly, I mean, it's just a pity that the question that we're using the word rivalry, not cooperation. And I think China is always ready to extend, the olive branch. It wants to cooperate with the world. Unfortunately, I think how does the world proceed with multilateralism, considering, Chinese and American rivalry? I mean, it seems to me that America doesn't like multilateralism. It doesn't like the multilateralism in the BRI. It doesn't like it when the UN votes against it, as they have in Iran recently. And even more worryingly is that America tends to go against, multilateral efforts. It tends to go, in its unipolar way. It invades states that disagree with it. It blockades them. It puts sanctions on them. And so, the world's in a very dangerous state at the moment. It's threatened by a hegemon, essentially. There's troops, bases around China. There's the Navy in the South China Sea. And America has bases across the world. So, of course, if you go against the hegemon, what does the hegemon do? The history shows that it can be quite belligerent at times. So, how to proceed? I think China just has to do its best. America, obviously, as we've talked about, America and certain West powers that be in the West are trying to portray China as this awful human right, this awful country that goes against human rights. But I think, China just has to keep improving and doing its best, working peacefully towards the world. Essentially, China likes multilateralism. Its trade has been based on multilateral order and cooperating in the system that we have now, the UN, the WHO, etc., and the trading system as well.